these are the largest demonstrations for a long time in Israel. The Histadrut, which is the equivalent of the ACTU, the head of the union movement, the major sort of labour group, has called basically for a nationwide strike tomorrow. They cover about 800,000 workers. So not necessarily all of those workers will walk off the job, but a lot will. It looks like Ben Gurion International Airport will be closed because a lot of their workers run and maintain. So if Israel's major international airport is closing, the streets, as you can see there, you can't move. This is before the strike, before the 800,000 workers from Histadrut. So this is by far the biggest challenge to Benjamin Netanyahu's leadership. And look, he has come back 3 times. This is his 3rd term as Prime Minister. He's the longest serving Prime Minister. He's an incredible survivor as a politician. I don't think he can survive this, though. I just think now, this has been building for 10, 11 months now. Started off with, say, 250 or so hostages. Many of them now, we know, have died. Tragically, the last 6 have come out. We just saw a picture there of young Hirsch Goldberg, Polin, 23 years of age, had his life in front of him. The tragedy, if you look at the faces of these latest 6 who've died, those sort of lost lives. So the emotions now in Israel are so strong that I can't see Benjamin Netanyahu surviving.
And so then what is the machinations for that, him not surviving?
Well, he has 64 votes at the moment out of 120. His major opposition leader, Yair Lapid, has just spoken to the Israeli public, referred to Netanyahu and the cabinet of death. His defence minister, Yoav Gallant, has publicly broken ranks with him now. The head of Shin Bet, Ronan Bar, has talked about the Jewish terror that is being enabled by Benjamin Netanyahu in the West Bank. So apart from that hardcore right wing keeping him in power, those 2 ministers we've talked about before, Ben Gvir and Smotrich, his support is crumbling.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the West Bank there, John. We know that the ongoing violence continues there. Can you remind our viewers how different the West Bank is to Gaza? Because what some people might not think is that it's not run by Hamas like Gaza
That's
is.
right. There's 2 separate Palestinian territories. There's the West Bank, which has been controlled by the Palestinian Authority, or Fatah, the moderates of the Palestinians. Gaza has been controlled by Hamas, the militants, the hardliners, the terrorists. Now, what has happened is the Netanyahu government has enabled the money from Qatar to go into Gaza to support, according to former heads of Shin Bet, to support Hamas before October 7. So there was divide and conquer. Now what's happening, I've written a piece on the website this morning, the ABC website, about this. The new front has opened up in the West Bank, where you have more than 620 Palestinians have been killed since October 7. The Israeli army are going into all sorts of places. For a long time, the Israeli army and their officials have been pouring concrete into Palestinian water wells, trying to force a lot of the Palestinians off the land. We can see now where they're going into towns. They argue security, right? And there is a security element to all of this. Of course, it's a very tough neighbourhood. But when you see them demolishing streets, when you see Israeli soldiers, as I have, shooting bullets into water tanks, I've stood there and watched them firing. What is the security element in shooting water? I've seen I know of Israeli soldiers who have pushed a rusted car into a Palestinian well in a little village in the Hebron Hills called Susia, so that the water was poisoned and the Palestinians couldn't drink from it. Where is the security element of that is the question that the Israeli public needs to answer.
All while this is going on, we know that the polio vaccination rollout started over the weekend in Gaza. Do you know how that's going?
Look, it appears to be. There appear to be a lot of children being vaccinated. They've divided the area up, the Israelis, a third, north, central and southern Gaza. Gaza. So they're pausing for, say, 8 or 9 hours while some children are being vaccinated in the area, the 1/3 where there's nothing happening. But the really bizarre thing about this, I've never seen a situation, any war before, where there's a pause for 9 hours, so the children are being vaccinated in 1/3, while children are being killed in the other 2/3 in bombing. I've never seen anything like this.